What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. Now, if you want to see that daily Ravens content, please make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And actually, this was a commented idea on a different video from the segment where Joshua and I in the Trust of the Bank podcast, hope everybody that watched that enjoyed it, where we compared the Rashad Bateman to the Terrence Marshall Jr. And somebody asked in the comment section down below to do it with edge rushers. And there's a lot of edge rushers, that are kind of potentials for first round picks. And I can't really do them all in one video. It'd be like a 25, 30-minute video. So I'm going to kind of do a few comparisons where I'll talk about them. And eventually I'll have like a big board all kind of set up and I can go through all of them. It'll be a lot easier. But these are going to be my, thoughts overall on these players, comparing them. And in this video, I'm going to be comparing Gregory Rousseau to Azeez Ojulari, and basically talking about what I think and, who the Ravens should draft if both players are available, whether it's at 27 or potentially the Ravens trade up, because, the edge rushers, different people have different favorites. So possibly Ojulari goes first, maybe Paye goes first. Heck, Rousseau was mocked to go first for a while. So, depending on where the Ravens are drafting, got to just get all these comparisons out because there's a chance that both of them could be available wherever the Ravens are, depending on where they draft based on trades. But let's get right into it. Starting off with Gregory Rousseau. I think a lot of Ravens fans know Gregory Rousseau, edge rusher out of Miami, pretty much played 1 year. In that 1 year, 13 games, had 15 and a half sacks, 19 and a half tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles. Those are incredible. I mean, those collegiate numbers, those are great collegiate numbers. And he's playing that in the ACC. So that is a good conference. And he's able to still be dominating, those offensive tackles that he's going against. But if you watch the tape on Gregory Rousseau, there's a big thing that will stick out to you. He has no pass rush moves. He just doesn't. He gets a lot of coverage sacks. He gets unblocked sacks. But he doesn't really have a move that he's able to go to in order to beat an offensive tackle when he truly needs it. He can disengage and he can get outside when a quarterback rolls out and he can sack him. So I'm not trying to knock him as a prospect for that. But like that's a big issue. Now, however, he's only played 1 year at defensive, at edge rusher. So that kind of gives him a break. If you didn't know, he was actually a wide receiver and a safety before he transitioned to playing edge rusher at the U. So that's something where, he has a ton of potential. He's able to come in and really his first time ever playing the position, have 15 and a half sacks in a major conference with very good competition, and he's able to perform very well. However, since he doesn't have any pass rush moves, when he first goes into the NFL, he's not going to be able to just, come in and be a, if we think about recent pass rushers that have come in through the draft, Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Joey Bosa, those type of guys where they come in and it's like, oh, they got their moves. They can just beat a tackle. He's not going to do that whatsoever. He's not going to be able to come in. I think people have said it would be really good if he got 4 sacks. Now, as a prospect, he's still very, very good. It's just not an immediate impact type of prospect. He can, if he develops like pass rush moves, he's going to be scary good. That's why he was projected to be the number 1 edge rusher a few months ago in the draft, was because it was like, man, if this guy develops something, he's going to be real special, because without any moves, he was already putting up great numbers. So what I'll say about the Ravens in drafting him is that the Ravens need an edge rusher now. They don't have an edge rusher. So drafting somebody that won't be able to be like an actual edge rusher, he's more just going to be there to learn how to be an edge rusher. He won't have immediate impact right away. And so they still won't have an edge rusher on their roster. Now, the difference would be if the Ravens were to sign potential guys, Justin Houston, maybe they signed 2 guys, Justin Houston and Aldon Smith. Then it's like, okay, he can be your 3rd edge rusher where he develops behind a couple of guys, gets in every once in a while, still wouldn't be crazy productive, but he'd be able to develop, but the Ravens wouldn't be needing that immediate pass rusher to start the season. So he'd be able to be a backup and that type of thing. They only signed 1. He'd be opposite of somebody else that's good, but he still wouldn't be able to beat a one-on-one. That's not something that NFL scouts expect. It's not something he's going to be able to do his rookie year. Now, once again, I'll say he could develop it down the line. He is a developmental first-round pick because he's just that much of a freak athlete that he could be able to play the position at an extremely, extremely high level. But what the Ravens need is they need immediate impact from the edge rusher position. So for me, I would not draft him if the Ravens don't sign an edge rusher. I wouldn't draft him even in the second round. If the Ravens do sign an edge rusher, I would be available. I would be okay with drafting him in the second round. Doubt he would be there. This isn't saying like, oh, we could fall to the second round. No, he probably won't be. But like, I don't think using a first round pick on him would be wise, really at all. So that's kind of my thoughts on Gregory Rousseau. Now let's compare him with Azeez Ojulari. You look at Azeez, he's an edge rusher out of Georgia. He played really, really well the last 2 seasons. And he redshirted in 2018, but kept his eligibility. So his freshman year was really 2019 and played in 2020. In 2020, he played 1 less game than he did in the prior season. He had 9.5 sacks, which was 4 more than he did in his freshman year. He had 12.5 tackles for loss, which was 7.5 more than his freshman year. And he also had 4 forced fumbles, which was 3 more than what he had in his freshman year. So he's playing at Georgia. That's the SEC. That is that is hands down the toughest conference in college football is the SEC, and he's putting up good production. They are known to have good offensive tackles, like that type of thing. He's a bit undersized, but that didn't really stop him. We saw him, like I said, in the SEC, the hardest conference. Sometimes you see a guy that's undersized and they're like, oh, I'm playing at, Middle Tennessee State or something random like that. And they're undersized and they can beat those tackles. They go to the NFL and it's like, yeah, that size was an issue. He was undersized and he was beating the SEC guys and playing, and he was one of the premier edge rushers in the country. So not too worried about his size because this dude is built like a physical specimen, like almost like if at that size, he's like the perfect build. Crazy strong. He's quick at the point of attack. One thing that he does is he doesn't just do the exact same thing every single time in terms of, getting off the line. He goes at different speeds to kind of lull the tackles. Another thing about him, though, that a kind of a knock is that he doesn't have a ton of pass rush moves, but he still has some go-to moves that he's able to go to, which is a massive benefit. If you have a move that you can execute, it means you can at least be an edge rusher that can get pressure every once in a while. Whereas, like I brought up with Gregory Rousseau, he doesn't have one yet. So that just like takes away the ability to get quick pressures. Now, Rousseau could get coverage sacks, but you want a guy that can get you instant pressure with your edge rusher position. So he at least has those abilities to get that instant pressure with his somewhat limited, but he still has good pass rush moves that are go-tos for him. Another major thing about him is that he was the first freshman ever under Kirby Smart to be a team captain. That's a big thing. That shows leadership right there. When you have a guy that can come in and the Ravens, they don't have a ton of leadership on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not saying that they don't have any leaders. They've got guys that step up. Marlon, Chuck Clark, Brandon Williams. Those guys are leaders, but like we need more. Like the more the merrier, really. The more guys that can come in and really set the tone, especially when we have a very interesting defensive line group and pass rusher group. It's pretty young. If we have a guy that comes in, steps up, and shows everybody, that he's a leader, like that's just an added benefit. I just don't see how that could be, something that's negative. So overall, Azeez Ojulari, physical beast with great hustle. That's the other thing is he hustles like nobody else. He's a great leader, and that's the type of thing that you want in an edge rusher. And obviously, he has some pass rush moves that are go-tos. Now, he wouldn't come into the NFL. He wouldn't come to the Ravens and have Nick Bosa level production his rookie year. It wouldn't happen. Most people it wouldn't happen with, but like he would be able to come in and he would be able to be a good edge rusher that would be able to, he could take some double teams every once in a while. Like they may have to start doubling him and that would allow other people to do a little bit better, but he would definitely have a significantly more impactful rookie season than what we would get out of Gregory Rousseau. Down the line, Rousseau could end up becoming the better overall player, but the Ravens aren't looking for down the line. They were in win now mode 100% with Lamar Jackson still on his rookie deal. That's what they need to do. And they need that instant edge rusher that can contribute right away. And that's what Azeez Ojulari is going to bring to the Ravens. So for me, absolutely Azeez Ojulari is the pick if these two are available. Now, obviously, I still got to compare them with other guys. So, my next video, I will about edge rushers. I don't think it'll be tomorrow's video, but my next video about edge rushers, I don't know why I can't speak that. will be about Azeez Ojulari and comparing him to somebody else. Comment down below who you want me to compare it to. Kwity Paye, Jaylene Phillips, anybody else. Comment who you want me to compare him to. I'll give all of my thoughts and things like that. And like I said earlier, I will eventually have like a big board where I'll just be like, okay, these are kind of the order that I want them in for the Ravens. But right now I still got to do all these comparisons. So make sure to subscribe for daily Ravens content. So one, you can just see that next video that comes out when it's comparing the Azeez to another pass rusher. And then two, I got plenty of other content that I talk about, but mock draft Mondays and things like that. But thank you everybody for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content. Comment who you want me to do next in the comparisons, or if there's another position you want me to compare for draft picks, please let me know. Thank you everybody for watching. See all of you again tomorrow.